Are you ready?
I am born ready.
All right. So we're going to podcast?
Yeah, I'm recording right now.
Okay.
Recording on both hands.
Whale. All right, well, I'll just do it like a normal podcast then. Hello. Welcome to the Back Room Crew. As you notice today, it's just me and DB here because we're coming to you live, well, semi-live, from the ODU MiniCon 2016 here at beautiful Old Dominion University here in Norfolk, Virginia. And right now we are in their Web Centers Cafe area. Pretty much watching everything go on right now. We got some background noise you might pick up. That's a table next to us getting set up. They're getting to do tea and all the other fun stuff out here. But today we're going to talk about Batman v Superman, the movie. Dawn of Justice, which came out yesterday, officially. DB saw it before I did. I saw it last night, obviously. We're going to talk a little bit about that and maybe get into a couple other things DC related today. DB, you're the biggest DC fan in the group right now. What was your take on Dawn of Justice? Give me your spoiler free. I don't care how you do it, but what was your take of the Dawn of Justice series?
Well, Josh, I have to say that it was a pretty good movie.
Yeah, you're making fun of me.
Nah, but yeah, I liked it. It was a good movie. It was it had a lot of things that were wrong with it, but I have a lot of movies that I like that are a lot of people don't like, or there's
everybody's tastes in movies are different too.
Yeah, it's like one of my favorite movies of all time is Constantine.
I love that movie with Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, see,
I love that movie.
But the thing is, when you read the comic,
it's nowhere near like the comics.
Nothing like the comic. It's like a lot of comic book fans trash that movie and everything, and it's just like, yeah. I mean, I've seen people review Batman vs Superman. Some people give it high. Some people give it like a 7. Some people give it an 8.
I mean, Rotten Tomatoes gave it like a 30 or something, 33%.
Yeah.
But the fans' reaction was like a 74%.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
my thing is what were the critics saying about it?
Critics were saying that mainly the plot. Plot was incisive and
it was all over the place.
Yeah, all over the place and everything like that.
I will give them that. Yeah. It was all over the place. But was that a movie killer? No, because you
kind of when you read the title did exactly what it said. It said Batman v Superman, which is Batman v Superman. V as in not versus, but V as in like a kind of political or like government type thing or whatever.
Two different takes on the same problem.
There were a lot of like kind of politics within Batman v Superman.
There was the fact that you had senators and blockings and Senate hearings and all that, besides the fact, but I feel like
you had a lot of build-up.
You did have a lot of build-up, but I think the reason why there was a lot of build-up is because DC forgoed the origin stories. I mean, a lot of people were sitting there like comparing it to like the Marvel Cinematic Universe lineup, to where you had 6-7 movies introducing each individual character in the Avengers, and now you have one movie, Dawn of Justice. You already had Man of Steel, which introduced the new Superman, but then you had to introduce the new Batman, the Affleck, if you will, which we had the Nolan Batman, the Dark Knight series Batman. Christian Bale and all that was the last actual DC movie rendition Batman. They had to establish a new Batman.
Exactly.
Which is why we got to see his parents die again for the 100th time on his TV screen. Which is why we got to see the backstory again for the 100th time for Batman. I feel like people know the story of Batman. People know where he came from. You might need to give the general audience a reminder of who his mother was, because obviously that played a big key role in everything.
Yeah, it did.
But you didn't need to do a background on Batman again.
But based off of the way that they showed it, as far as the the whole Batman's parents being killed and everything like that, I think that visually that was probably one of the best renditions of his parents being killed. I mean, yeah, it's kind of like messed up saying that. Man, I loved it when his parents died.
Yeah, but true.
It's messed up, but
at the same time though, like, I saw 3 different types of Batman story arcs in that movie. That's just from my knowledge, and obviously you know more about the DC lineups than I do. I mean, we saw we saw the basic Batman intro where they're coming out of a theater and somebody mugs his dad and his mom, and his dad dies and his mom dies, and the pearls go everywhere. That, to me, is the classic Batman death scene.
Yeah, it is.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. However you rendition, you needed those things. Mm-hmm. Then you had Batman. What I didn't get was the Bat Vortex.
The vortex?
Where he fell into the Batcave, and they started swirling around him, and they came up there. That was a little out there, in my opinion.
Yeah, it was, and I know a lot of people that when they saw that scene, they kind of like laughed in like a, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, it was like, I've never seen anything like that in the story arcs before.
And see, at first, when I saw it, I was like, what the fuck is this? But then, like, when the movie progressed and, you know, they did more dream sequences and everything like that, I could tell, like, okay, this Batman, he's a little off, not like crazy, but he's seen so much, like, probably bad stuff happen to him that he's kind of like has a little bit like a thing, like he envisions like certain things with him. Like, if anything, they kind of made him like Frank Miller, kind of like a crazy old man.
Yeah, well, now that's what I was getting ready to get into. Is like, we know, if you look at the movie and you watch what's going on with Batman, we know what time frame it is in his life. Mm-hmm. He's an older Batman. He even mentioned that he's been doing it for 20 plus years. You know, we know the Killing Joke events have happened by the stuff that's in the Batcave, by the armor. I couldn't tell if that was an old Bat armor or an old Robin armor.
It was old Robin armor.
Old Robin armor that had the Joker writing on it.
Yeah.
So we know Robin was killed by the Joker. And we also know that Batman himself has started killing people, which is the Frank Miller version of Batman, because he's I'm done with it. Being nice to you guys doesn't solve the problem. So, because there's many times where he just came in with a 50 cal and just whacks people.
Yeah.
And even the dream sequence, which showed the post-apocalyptic Batman.
Yeah.
The Mad Max Batman, if you will.
Which was all one shot, if you notice that.
Yeah.
That was all one shot.
Yeah.
Which was actually, I think, pretty big. Because, you know, having that in all one shot and, like, you know, cinematically.
Of course, you had the special effects.
Yeah.
The Wasp Troopers, which I didn't understand those at all.
Those were not, they weren't Wasp Troopers. Those were
the bug drop.
Those were parademons.
Oh, okay.
Parademons are from
Dr. Fate?
No, parademons are from Apocalypse.
Oh, okay.
Their Apocalypse's like army that he sends out personally or whatever like that. You know, other than his.
So again, that goes back to what we said before. There's so many different story arcs in this that there was too much to assimilate. There was too many different story types. I mean, you had the modern Wonder Woman, which I really would. You know, I think Gal Gadot. Gadot, whatever. Yeah. I'm Carolina, leave me alone. I feel like she did a good job as Wonder Woman. I know a lot of people who weren't familiar with her were like, why is she speaking Spanish? Well, I didn't know Wonder Woman was Spanish. I was like, she's speaking more like Greek.
She is.
You know?
She's speaking more like in the Mediterranean.
Yeah, which again is... Spain is a Mediterranean country.
Well, no, she's not Spain.
I know, but you get what I was saying. People were thinking she was Spanish.
Well, yeah, but the thing is, Gal Gadot was originally from Israel, so she's going to have an accent. But she was speaking... Her accent was a little bit like Greek / that Mediterranean area, whatever, that peninsula, Turkey Peninsula and everything like that, you know? So... All right, if we break it down, let's break it down like this. Let's first go with plot-wise. What'd you hate and like about the plot?
I like the story. I like where it went. I don't like how it got there.
Yeah.
I felt like if you made it a little bit more streamlined, a little bit more Iron Man 1, where it's cause, effect, it would have been better. I feel like you were telling two different sides of the story, which was established at the very beginning when you saw Bruce Wayne running around Metropolis, basically witnessing the end events of Man of Steel, which I thought was a cool take.
Yeah.
Because all the cool special effects and all the bigness of it, and then you look from far away and it's just like a little event.
Yeah.
And how it's basically how you're showing Superman. I mean, he's trying to do good, but millions of people died that day.
Yeah.
Or not millions, maybe a couple 100,000 people at least, because you're dropping buildings and cities.
Exactly.
At that point.
Yeah.
So you're seeing that. You're seeing all that at the beginning, and then it skips 18 months ahead of time. Mm-hmm. Which, of course, you need to have that time gap for shit to establish. You can't just immediately go into the thing.
Yeah.
You got to have all that other stuff.
I
feel like it was too focused on Batman hating on Superman. I feel like you needed to have more Superman. I mean, they had a good point where they were like, oh, Superman's getting set up by Lex Luthor, which is what Lex Luthor does. But it felt like it was there. It was like they just mentioned it just as a plot device. They didn't go into that. They didn't go into the politics of it. You didn't go into... Let me rephrase. They did not explain the story elements that they introduced well enough. Mm-hmm. I feel like there was too many of them to make a good flowing plot line. You know, get cause and effect. Mm-hmm. Especially in a big action superhero movie like that, there has to be a cause to an effect.
Yeah.
There was... When the fight finally happened, it was over in like 5 seconds. And like everybody says, if they just took 10 seconds to talk about it, they didn't have to fight.
Yeah. It did, but also it's one of those things like...
Because Superman could have literally just grabbed him and be like, this is what the problem is, listen to me.
Yeah. But essentially, you know, that's usually how they set up with stories or whatnot, which was... It seemed almost like a cop-out, but yeah, it kind of worked in a way or whatnot. Because you noticed that he was backing up and that he was like... But then it got to the point where Superman was... He didn't know how to explain it to him, how to say it to him or whatever, until that last moment. But I felt like, as far as the plot-wise, yeah, it was a lot of stuff like jumbled up, and it seems like it could have been more streamlined because it doesn't all come together until the end of the movie.
It doesn't.
Yeah, at the end of the movie, that's when you realize, okay, so that's what they were trying to go for. And that actually works out or whatever. It's like if you're a regular moviegoer and you're watching this during it or whatever, or if you come in at the wrong moment of the movie, it's going to be like, okay, what the heck is going on?
Yeah, I mean, the Batman nightmare sequences could have been framed up a little bit better.
Yeah.
Because you just cut right into the apocalypse version of Batman, and you're like, the fuck's going on?
Yeah.
You know, we didn't know that was a dream. We didn't know if it was a flashback to something. Mm-hmm. And then he wakes up and he's having a nightmare within a nightmare.
Or with the nightmare where he had when he went to the tomb.
He had the Man-Bat version. Yeah. The actual Batman the evil Batman in his brain pull him out.
Which, I think that one could have been cut out completely and I wouldn't even like...
That. Yeah. Again, there was a lot of stuff they could have cut out of it.
Yeah.
And it would have been fine. Yeah, it would have been completely fine. Yeah. That scene alone would have been fine. There was a lot of walking around for no reason from Bruce Wayne. Walking in the field. You know, walking to the old burnt-down Wayne Manor, which I'm assuming came from the Laughing Joke era.
You mean Killing Joke?
Yeah, the Killing Joke.
That was the old... I guess
Did I say Laughing Joke?
Yeah.
My bad.
I guess what it was, that old mansion, they had that, but then they kind of like... They kind of like abandoned it, and that's why he's got like the kind of like the separate like outpost or whatever, like the houses out further on the property or whatnot like that.
Yeah.
Which I would like if they would have like they decide to bring the mansion back in and like rebuild that up and make it better.
The Hall of Justice.
Oh no, they ain't. I want to make it the Hall of Justice.
So we talked about the plot.
Well, hold on. Let me
finish your
Let me get into it. As far as the plot, yeah, I thought it was a lot that they could have added into it, but it got muddled after a while, and overall, I probably would have liked it to be a little bit like more cohesive, going a straight line. But the way that this was, I think a lot of people saw it kind of like as a sequel, like it was going to be a sequel to Man of Steel. But I don't see it as a sequel. I see it kind of like a result of it. or whatnot.
It is a.
It's a direct result, but it's kind of like if Man of Steel is going this way, Batman v Superman is branching off of that, and I feel like that's the way that they're gonna do their universe now. Like Man of Steel is gonna go in a straight line to go in its own path with probably another sequel of Man of Steel.
Yeah.
And then this is gonna go branched off, and it's going to kind of like branch off into other ones.
Well, they basically set up. I mean, they introduced Aquaman, they introduced the Flash, they introduced Cyborg, which I kind of got giddy about. They introduced Wonder Woman.
Mm-hmm.
She's the first one on the lineup to get her own standalone, right?
Yeah.
So they introduced the core team of the Justice League,
right? And
without actually introducing the Justice League.
Yeah, and when you think about it, this movie wasn't from Superman's perspective at all.
No,
like,
it was from...
You got Batman's perspective, you got the world's perspective of how they viewed him.
And you got Lex Luthor's perspective.
Yes, and when I remember reading the pre-comics to this, even in the Superman's pre-comic, it wasn't even Superman like talking or anything. It was like everybody talking about him. Everybody was talking about stuff around him going on or whatnot. And it was kind of like, okay, we see this figure that has this power. We're either going to like look to him as a god or look to him as, you know, a devil. And that's pretty much what Lex was saying and going with everything like that. So
I remember we were watching the movie, and not to get off topic, we were watching the movie last night when he was going on that tirade about God being absolute. And it's like God cannot have absolute power and be absolutely good. There was a little girl next to us like having a fit over that because I guess she's been raised up that God is 100% good and all this other jazz. And I understood what they were saying, but if you're going to show that movie out, I don't know, it struck me as funny that you had that message in a movie that you know children are going to go see. So, but again, Lex Luthor. Let's talk about Lex Luthor.
Well, yeah, let's get into characters. Let's start with Batman's character.
I liked Ben Affleck as Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
I absolutely think he did a phenomenal job as Bruce Wayne.
Oh, yeah.
I think you can clearly see a difference between him playing Bruce Wayne and Batman, even when he's not in the Batman costume.
Oh, yeah.
And the problem with that is he did a great Bruce Wayne. I think he could have done a little bit better as Batman. And what I mean by that is I felt like he was trying to rip on like the Kevin Conroy version of Batman.
The animated series.
The animated series Batman, yes. Where you have oh, hey, Alfred, how are you doing? Bruce Wayne, and I'm going to kill you, Batman. It was too much of a flip of the coin, which is fine. You need that definition between Bruce Wayne and Batman to make the character work. But at the same time, unless you were paying attention, you didn't know which Ben Affleck you had.
Yeah. I think as far as Bruce Wayne, he did an excellent job as Bruce Wayne.
I would love to see him as Bruce Wayne again.
Yeah, like him being Bruce Wayne was just phenomenal. Like he pretty much pulled that, like the suave debonair. You remember that one scene where he woke up from the dream or whatever?
And there's a naked ass woman.
Yeah. It's like
that was
he
Bruce
played
Wayne.
That billionaire playboy and everything that.
When he was at the library fundraiser, and he's like checking out the girl running around. He's like, sorry, old habits.
It's like, it's like,
I mean, it worked. But again, though, he's not the young Bruce Wayne that we got from the Dark Knight series. He is the older, I've been doing this for so long, Bruce Wayne. I'm done with being nice Bruce Wayne. I'm done being nice Batman.
But I would have liked to see him, like, probably if they do end up making him get his own series, his own movie and everything, I want to see him more into that public scene of Bruce Wayne, like, because, Bruce Wayne is a very charitable person. Like, he gives to charity and everything like that.
Yeah.
I want to see him dealing with something with, like, the charities around, like, orphanage or something around Gotham, which I think even more so now, he should be involved in. Like, something like that would definitely, like, what they should do is Bruce Wayne should do something with the, okay, we get rolling. But
Thunderdome.
Bruce Wayne should have something to do with the rebuilding the harbor, like because
usually whenever there was a Justice League event, the Wayne Foundation fixed it.
Yeah,
which again, I'm pretty sure Batman had some profit shares from that.
Oh yeah.
Let's talk about Superman.
But as far as as far as Batman,
remember we got an hour.
I know. As far as Batman, I feel that Batman, he did good too. Like he actually put the fear of Batman. Yeah, I didn't like the killing part. I thought.
But again, though, it's because he's past the killing. He's past the point. He's past that break point.
Yeah. I feel that. I mean, he didn't directly use guns, but he used grenade launchers, and he used gun turrets on his car, which I would have preferred if
the Bat Tank 2.0.
Yeah, I would have preferred if, as far as the car, he was able to like send out like cow traps, or what are they called, cow traps.
Oh, you mean like the spike strips and all that?
Yeah, the spike strips.
I'm sure it has it on there, but he was in chase mode, not being pursued.
Okay, or even if he was chasing, send out like sticky bombs or something, like something to like stick, or some type of blast thing to like blow out the tire.
As soon as you saw that SUV flipped over, you know the guy on that minigun died.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. So, again, he did okay as Batman. I wasn't like, oh my god, this is my favorite Batman. Because again, my favorite Batman, my favorite live-action Batman was Christian Bale.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you took Christian Bale,
one of those guys.
Oh no, hold on. I think if you took the two, the Batfleck and the Christian Bale Batman, and merged them together, you would get the perfect Batman.
The only thing I don't like about Christian Bale Batman is that he didn't show that detective part.
He didn't.
This Batman did show that detective part.
Yeah.
Like, he actually showed that when he was talking with Alfred about certain things, whatever, like researching the guy, whatever, which the Russian guy who was in the desert and also working with Lex, that is KGB's. That's an actual comic character, but they never referenced that, which when I found that out, I was like, okay, but they didn't reference him, but he kind of was in a lot of scenes and showed up significantly. That's kind of weird. It's like you got obviously someone who could be a villain in probably a secondary villain to Batman or whatever, but you don't really make reference to him or even say his name. That's kind of disservice, It's kind of disservice.
But how many people are you going to put in? It's just how many heroes and villains can you fit into a movie and not have to go into in-depth detail about their backstory? Yeah. The fact that we established him as a mercenary, we established him as a Black Ops KGB type person.
Yeah.
The fact that we knew he was basically the illegal arm of Lex Luthor's operation.
Yeah.
That's all you really need to know about him in that movie.
But another character that they kind of left out, that they kind of shitted on, Jimmy Olsen.
No.
Was he even in the movie?
Yes, he was.
Was he?
Yes.
When?
The guy that had the camera, that had the tracker, working for CIA?
That was Jimmy?
That was Jimmy Olsen.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, Zack
I didn't
Snyder,
even pick up about that.
Yeah, Zack Snyder confirmed it. When I saw the scene, when I first saw that scene or whatever, and they were bringing it out, I was like, he's got a camera, he's with Lois. I wonder if he's Jimmy Olsen. But then when they found that tracer and say he was the CIA, I was like, no, he can't be Jimmy Olsen.
Yeah, that's why it threw me off, because Jimmy was the apprentice photographer and all that other jazz.
Superman's buddy and everything like that. And I was like, no, that can't be Jimmy Olsen, because they wouldn't do that to him. And then they killed him off, and it's just kind of
hello.
Hey.
Good. We getting some fan action here while we're doing this podcast.
But, yeah, they killed him off, and it was like, wow, really? I understand he's being used on Supergirl, but just getting rid of Jimmy Olsen like that, that was...
Well, Superman and himself in that movie, because we're going to talk about Batman all day.
Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about Superman.
Superman, I don't like the Man of Steel Superman. I don't like this Superman.
You don't?
I don't like it. There's no emotion to him.
He's growing on me.
There's no emotion to him. I didn't even like his Clark Kent, because Clark Kent's supposed to be that shy farm boy type of thing. I don't like the Superman. I don't like the character that this person, whoever his name is, what is his name?
Henry Cavill?
Yeah. I don't like him as Superman. I don't like his rendition of Superman. I don't like Superman in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Because
He doesn't seem to show.
He doesn't seem to show any emotion as Superman.
Yeah.
The only time you see him get upset is when Lois is in danger or his mom's in danger, which is understandable. Mm-hmm. But even then, it's like, hey, what's up? You know what I mean?
Well, I made this argument about it last night or whatever when I was talking to Wes about it. This Superman, okay, he just became Superman technically.
He's been Superman.
He's been
Superman for at least 2 years.
He's been Superman for 2 years.
2 years.
But the thing is, he came from the farm. You know, he was always like his father sheltered him, didn't want him to, you know, like grow out and like save people or whatever like that. He wanted to save people. But then he saw that some of the hurt that he was doing with it or whatever, and he saw like everything that was happening in the world because cause and effect. Like he was saved.
Was it Kevin Costner?
Yeah, Kevin Costner.
Kevin Costner. He probably came back as his dad in the movie.
Yeah.
Had a very good point, and I want to make sure that message is known about.
Yeah,
was
I know what you're talking
about. He's told Superman Clark Kent a story about when he was a child, how he saved his family's farm. Mm-hmm. But by saving his family's farm, he wiped out another farm altogether and killed horses and whatever else. Basically, completely wiped another farm off the face of the earth by saving his farm from a really nasty flood.
Yeah.
And the message which that is you can go out and think you're being the hero, you're somebody's hero, but at the same time, you're somebody's worst enemy.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? You may have saved the entire planet, Superman, but at the same time, you killed hundreds of thousands of people in your fight with Zod. Granted, it wasn't necessarily all your fault on everybody that died, but you fought Zod in the city.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You brought down buildings with your I-beams and stuff like that. So there are going to be people that hate you. There are going to be fears and everything like that. I mean, the national security aspect that they could have done so much more with. Mm-hmm. Again, go back to our plot thing. It could have basically been like, Superman, we understand that you're trying to do good, but you have to look at your actions. If you're going to fight this super being, take him outside the city.
Yeah. And here's the thing. I really thought that Superman had kind of like changed his ways and everything like that, and was like, okay, gonna actually try to calm himself down, do more stuff. But he was showing behavior that was still kind of like, okay, I'm not really sure what I'm doing is the right thing. But I kind of understand that he was still trying to get the feel of everything, trying to get the feel of understanding, like, okay, I want to do good, but am I doing the right thing? Am I, like, how do I know if I save this place that this place isn't going to be, you know,
affected?
And
again, that's
him like doubting himself, having self-doubts and everything. And one thing when in the desert when he beat up that terrorist guy, he slammed through a wall. It's like, okay, Superman,
you killed him on impact.
Yeah, I'm just like, okay, Superman, you definitely could have done something different in that situation. Like
again, let's go to the animated Superman.
Animated series.
Would you've used the same amount of time, just went in there and just broke the guy's arm at most and put him into the ground? Not like physically put him in the ground, but just brought him to the ground and neutralized him. Instead, he took him at Mach speed to release 3 walls out into the desert.
Yeah, and it's like...
And how did he not hear the gunshots going off when he was rolling in?
Mm-hmm.
He knew where Lois was at.
Yeah.
Again, plot holes. Lots of plot holes.
Yeah.
That's the biggest killer of this movie is the plot holes.
Yeah, and I think Superman, he definitely could have handled that situation differently. But I don't hate Henry Cavill as it. I
just don't like him. That was the main reason why I wasn't excited for the movie to begin with.
I think when he comes back, if, you know, because he passed in the movie.
But if you wait to the very... If you follow the Doomsday arc, then you know already that Doomsday he didn't actually kill him. He just severely damaged his body. He's going to basically recharge himself from the sun, which we saw the sunlight hitting him, which instantly starts his regeneration process. His body's in a state of hibernation. However long that... What was it, like months?
Yeah, it was like 2 months already, and then he was starting to surge a little bit more energy back in himself.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Superman's not dead. Let's just be clear about that. Anybody who's read the Doomsday comic knows he's not dead. It just takes him a really long time to get back in the game because he almost died. He was pretty much Goku getting killed and brought back by the Dragon Balls.
And the way that they did it, a lot of people don't understand it, but it kind of I feel like it kind of did make sense because it's like, okay, he was already kind of weakened from the kryptonite around him or whatever. And then, with him being impaled in the heart, it kind of like stopped his heart, and his regeneration couldn't work his way back sooner, like fast enough.
Yeah.
It's
basically like you're ripping your car in half, and then it takes a minute to put it back together.
Yeah.
So I get that. I get what was going on. Doomsday could have been better. I mean, I was kind of excited when he ripped off his outer layer, became the craggy looking Doomsday.
Mm-hmm.
I was really kind of hoping they would have made him like the Doomsday that we know and love, not like this giant, not Zod looking like Doomsday.
I think that fight could have been extended a little bit longer to where he got attacked in the face and in the head, and then they put like his spikes on his face to protect it.
Yeah.
I think they could have did that, and they could have definitely did the whole they showed it a little bit with his arm getting cut off, that he was growing spikes on his arm and everything to protect himself, like the bones on his arm.
Yeah.
And I see where they were going, but heck, even Doomsday, I know he's not dead.
No.
I mean, Doomsday probably is going to take longer to regenerate. They probably got him in government lockup, like his body hidden underground or something like that.
The thing about Doomsday is, if you kill him, he comes back to life,
stronger.
And now you can't kill him the same way. You have to come up with another way to kill him, which is already hard enough to do. And there was one of the where Superman was basically a tyrant versus a hero universe. I forget which one that is. He went up against Doomsday and lobotomized him. That was the only way he stopped him. He melted his brain.
Yeah, he stopped him then, but then Doomsday did come back.
Yeah, but still.
He came back and had a receptor to block that out or whatnot.
How do you block a receptor when it's basically pumping?
That's what Doomsday does. I mean, I kind of like the concept of what they did with
Lobo
Doomsday.
has a chip in his brain that plays heavy metal music, so he can't get taken over by psychic powers.
Yeah,
which I think is pretty metal.
Yeah, but I kind of like the way I do like the way that they did this Doomsday, only because it's like the New 52, where any Kryptonian can become a Doomsday type thing or whatnot, because it's like the Doomsday gene, which it kind of stretches what Doomsday is, but it kind of makes sense on this planet, where
in this
universe, because it basically, the computer said itself, Doomsday is this process is an abomination.
Well, no, it was basically it was a genetic mutation that was
banned by
the High Council, Kryptonium High Council, and all this other stuff, because of what it did do. So they obviously had problems with this in the past, and I don't know why Lex Luthor had to mix his blood into it either. Unless that was a mutation.
That was one thing I didn't understand. I didn't understand. Okay, how did Lex find out about this mutation?
Well, you got to remember that when he went into the ship,
Uh-huh.
And he basically took command of the ship.
Uh-huh.
He was like, teach me everything.
Okay.
So the ship probably taught him everything. And let's not forget, even though Lex Luthor, which we'll talk about him in a second, is off his damn mind.
Yeah.
He's a genius in his own right.
Oh, yeah.
So he could definitely have understood and comprehended what was being said to him.
So let's talk
and on top of that, he's trying to figure out a way to how to kill Superman.
Yeah.
So what's the first thing you're going to do? Look up
the
physiology of Kryptonians. So that's probably like a big file in there right there.
Yeah.
So
let's go to Lex. Who is obviously the third portion of this. What did you think of him?
I thought Lex Luthor in this movie, you could have took the same personality, same type of acting, same type of character, but give it to a different person, and it would have been a lot better.
See, the thing is, a lot of people, for some reason, they compare his performance to Jim Carrey as the Riddler.
I looked at him, I looked at this Lex Luthor, and I kept thinking Carrot Top on cocaine. That's all I thought. And that's because he was a redhead child and whatnot. It was just because he was like all over the place. And when he got upset, his face would twitch, which, okay, that's a Lex Luthor kind of thing. I didn't feel... If you had brought me the quasi-serious Lex Luthor, like the business-savvy Lex Luthor, I would have been more impressed. I would have been a little bit, sitting there and he's wearing a dapper suit instead of being... He's basically like a modern-day tech mogul Like, if you were to go into Google's office right now, seeing a kid skateboarding around with billions of dollars, that's what he reminded me of, and I don't see that type of person being that angry towards Superman. I feel like he would have been wrapped up in the idea of Superman. I feel like if they had went, instead of him trying to kill Superman, him trying to become Superman, it would have made a lot more sense.
I felt indifferent about Lex. Like, I liked it the way that they showed him being, and I use this word again, methodical, because he really had everything planned out.
And he was playing Batman.
And he was playing both of them. He was playing both of them.
Which it took me a minute to figure out, but A, he knew who Batman was.
Yes.
From the beginning.
Who Superman was.
Which is why he was like, kind of like, here you go, how you go? How you doing? And, which to me is impressive, because, and then I was, not to get off track, I mean, when Superman was basically calling Batman Bruce, I'm like, how did he know? Oh, wait, he's Superman, you can see through his mask.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
see through his mask and hear, like, his actual voice.
Yeah.
So, like, I didn't hate Lex because of his qualities as far as him, like, being a mastermind, you know, planning everything. I didn't hate those qualities. What I did hate was the fact that they made him essentially smarter than Bruce. Because that's the one thing. Lex Luthor is not smarter than Bruce Wayne.
No,
he's not smarter than Bruce Wayne. And they made him smarter than Bruce, able to figure out who Bruce Wayne was. And it's just kind of like, okay, that's not going to work. That part did not work for me. It didn't work for me. And I know somebody talked with me about this before, and I was kind of adamant, like, okay, maybe they won't do that, or maybe they'll figure out a way that he figured it out or whatever like that. But thinking about it, yeah, he would not be that smart to do that. But Lex, as far as the way that he played both of them, was really good. Lex kind of had, like, I like his eccentricness to a point. Like, his eccentricness.
That's what turned me off from him. I didn't like that over the top zealousness. I wanted him to be a darker Bruce Wayne. Still be playful, still be playboy and all that other fun stuff. But he killed Marcy.
You mean Mercy?
No, Marcy. Well, they called him Mercy.
Yeah, Mercy.
Which aggravated me to begin with. But he killed Marcy.
It's supposed to be Mercy.
Yeah, but
it's
still.
Supposed to be Mercy, yeah.
You don't kill, that's like his boo.
Yeah, that was, ooh.
God.
When I saw that, I was like, wait a second. Like, during that whole scene.
Grandma speaks tea.
Yeah. Once I saw the tea, I was like,
oh, everybody's going to die.
Oh, boy, yeah.
And you already knew everybody was going to die.
No, I didn't know everybody was going to die.
I did. Really as soon as he gave him that wheelchair, I knew there was a bomb in it.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that at all.
I was really kind of hoping to be like a kryptonite bomb.
Yeah. And
brought down Superman. Why didn't he think about that, Mr. Super Genius?
He didn't get the kryptonite yet. Remember?
Did he have it at that point?
No, he didn't have it yet.
Oh yeah, you're right, because Batman stole it.
Yeah, he didn't have it. Well, he didn't have a chance to, like, break it down or whatever and cut it up or anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really just felt like I didn't hate, like, I hated some aspects of Lex, but I actually also like some aspects of him.
I like the crazy psychotic side of Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
Again, I feel like if you got a different actor to play him, it would have been better.
I would have kept Jesse Eisenberg.
I wouldn't. I would not. I mean, that's like putting Michael Cera up in there and telling him to be crazy. You know what I mean? Like, why couldn't we get
Michael Cera as Jason Todd?
Well, unfortunately we're getting ready to lose power on our main camera, so this is the Backroom Crew coming to you live from ODU's Minicon.
Yeah, we're gonna continue this a little bit later, but we're gonna probably talk about something else.
But anyway, this is our Batman v Superman podcast while we're sitting here dicking around. So
this is part 1.
Part 1.